All right, guys, welcome to Moon Mentor's live stream, the Eagle story. Like I said, this story is was placed upon my heart this morning while I was in prayer, and the Lord brought it to my mind to read it to you guys tonight. So we're not going to waste too much time with introductions. You guys know who I am. You know what we do. We just open up with a word of prayer. But before we get on, I want to give you some information about what God reveals about the eagle. How swiftly does the eagle fly, Junior Movementer? A great bald eagle was once observed flying across a lake in less than 1 minute. The lake was 2 miles wide. Thus, the average speed of the eagle was calculated to be 120 miles per hour. That's fast, man. This meant that speeds in excess of 150 miles per hour had been achieved during the flight. When searching for prey, the eagle can soar to a height of 1/2 mile. From that vantage point, the eagle can survey an area of some 4 1/2 square miles. Upon spotting its intended prey, the eagle will turn sharply, fold its wings into a tight aerodynamic formation, and dive at speeds of up to 200 miles per hour. Talk about lightning fast, man. Why do eagles appear to be slow? The soaring eagle may appear to be lazy and sluggish to the casual observer. However, if the observer is aware of the eagle's large size and the great heights to which it soars, he will not be so easily deceived. The eagle's 7-foot wingspan allows it to glide effortlessly at altitudes at over 2,400 feet, thus giving the illusion that the eagle is moving at a snail's pace. Let's discuss the power of the eagle's wings. How powerful are the eagle's wings? The eagle is capable of carrying objects which approach its own body weight. Since the eagle can weigh up to 12 pounds, the variety of what it can carry in its tremendous eagle's claws, the variety of what it can carry is tremendous. Eagles have been known to transport small lambs a distance of several miles. Not too bad. I do my best to show you guys the pictures. I got the green screen thing going, so you know it might black out some things, but I do my best to show you guys the illustrations. You know what I mean? What are the secrets of the eagle's wings? The eagle's wings are characterized by primary feathers, which are separated at the tips, like the fingers of a hand. These separations play a major role in the power and stability of the eagle in flight. Air passes more quickly over the top of the wings than the bottoms, thus creating lift. The difference between the two air speeds also causes spinning whirls of air to form near the wings' tips, creating drag, which would normally slow the eagle down. However, because the primary feathers are separated, many small whirlpools are formed instead of one large one. Scientists propose that as the spinning currents expand, they collide and cancel the drag effect, thus enable the eagle to fly almost indefinitely. Eagles flap their wings mainly at takeoff and during acceleration when pursuing prey. While soaring, the eagle uses the movement of the wingtips and the furling of the wings to achieve sustained flight. Can the eagle fly in a hurricane? The same separation of the primary feathers, which reduces its drag, also serves to provide greater stability in flight. The eagle folds its wings slightly towards its body, thus reducing the total wing capacity. Eagles have been seen soaring almost motionlessly in near hurricane force winds, moving only the tips of their primary feathers to adjust for the varying wind speeds. How many feathers does an eagle have? Can you guess how many feathers the eagles have? One eagle was found to have 7,182 feathers. Woo! Each wing had over 1,250 feathers, which accounted for 16% of the bird's total body weight. How is the eagle renewed each year? Each year, the eagle replaces its feathers over a period of several months. However, unlike other birds, the eagle is not severely handicapped during this time because no two adjacent wing feathers fall out or molt at the same time. Thus, the eagle is able to continue hunting through the entire renewal process. And there's some more information I can give you guys about the eagle, but I'm going to save that for the replay live stream. You know what I mean? I'll show y'all some illustrations here though. See the feathers on the eagle and the current it creates with his feathers, right? how it renews its feathers all the time, but it can still fly, right? So now we're going to get ready to go into the actual story itself, guys. The warning of the eagle. This story provides graphic warnings of the dangers which surround our lives. Are you guys ready? Because I know I am. Let's begin the telling of the eagle story. A great bald eagle sat in tranquil dignity on his lookout high above the valley basin. The last wisp of vapor had vanished, drunk up by the rising sun. The sharp eye of the eagle had clear command of every district in his realm. See that big eagle? Looking about, surveying his land, right? Soon, he launched majestically from his perch and sailed down the jagged pine trees and gleaming lakes to his favorite fishing spot. When the eagle arrived, he noticed a slight change. A large rock had been placed near the shore. Since it was something new, it was to be a suspect of danger. See how big his wings are, flying down to his favorite fishing spot right here by the rock. He flew over it without stopping and aligned on the top of a dead tree nearby. After a piercing scrutiny, he was convinced that the rock was a provision for his convenience. He sailed down and perched upon it. Then he saw a large fish lying on the grass. He considered again. If the fish had been near the water's edge, he would have understood. But up on the grass? That was an uncommon situation for a fish to get itself into. I wonder what's going on here. The wise eagle now peered suspiciously into the neighboring bushes, looking right. He scanned every grassy area and cast a sweeping survey up and down the shores. Everything was as it should be. So he hopped down, clutched the fish in his sharp claws, and was about to fly away when he caught sight of another fish, and yet another. Plainly, the wilderness was caring for his needs in the most unexpected and lavish way. Seems like that eagle's getting a little lazy. See him grabbing them fish? See him grabbing them fish there? But across the lake, the sharp eyes of a cunning trapper studied every move which the eagle made. This trapper had been offered a large sum of money to capture an eagle alive. He was a crafty and experienced trapper, and he knew that this wise monarch of the sky would not be snared by any ordinary means. On the following day, the eagle returned. He found that the supply of fish had been miraculously renewed. This provision would lighten his labors and give him more time to sit upon his high-swept perch and view his domain. More fish. I guess he considered himself to be lucky. I know the green screen's messing up the trees a little bit, but you're gonna have to just deal with it, baby. You know what I mean? At every visit to his fishing spot, he perched on a rock and devoured at least one fish before carrying the meal to his nest. His surprise and curiosity as to the source of the supply had died out by the second day. Wild creatures quickly come to accept an obvious benefit, however extraordinary, as one of those provisions which unseen powers bestowed without explanation. By the time the eagle had come to this frame of mind, the silent trapper was ready for his next move. He made a large, strong hoop net, and on a moonlit night carefully dug the long handle into the ground at the water's edge. He put it on an angle so that the hoop was almost level, about 4 feet from this rock. Having accomplished this, the clever trapper scattered fish upon the ground. Then he disappeared into the bleakness of the forest. Grabbed this fish. Now the trapper does set his trap. Let's see what the eagle sees about this. On the following morning, the mighty eagle sat on his lookout. His intense gaze swept the vast, shadowy basin. For fully half an hour, he watched in regal stillness. Then he lifted off his perch and flew leisurely to his favorite fishing spot. As he drew near, he was puzzled and annoyed by the odd structure which had been erected above his rock during the night. He at once checked his flight and began soaring in great circles. Paying attention. See the net? He sees the net. He's like, oh, what's this? This looks fishy here, right? Higher and higher he flew, trying in vain to make out what that strange-looking object was. He could see, however, that the fish were there as usual. At length, he satisfied himself that no hidden peril lurked in the nearby shadows. He descended to the nearest treetop and spent a good half hour in motionless scrutiny. He little guessed that a solitary figure, equally motionless and far more patient, was watching his every move from a thicket across the lake. He did his circle. He watched the area for a bit before he did his next move. You know what I mean? So what is he going to do, this eagle? At the end of this long watch, the eagle decided that a closer investigation was desirable. He flew down to the sandy shore, well away from the net. He found a fish which he devoured. Then he found another. This he carried away to his nest. He had not solved the mystery of the strange structure overhanging the rock, but he had proved that it was not actually dangerous. When the eagle returned an hour later, the net looked less strange to him. He even perched on the sloping handle. The structure seemed quite harmless. See him chilling on that net? He hopped down and looked with keen interest at the fish lying under the hoop beside the rock. He reached out with beak and claws, clutched one fish, and quickly hopped back. The eagle repeated this cautious procedure at every visit throughout the day. But when he came again on the next day, the eagle had grown once more utterly confident. He went under the net without haste or apprehension and perched unconcernedly on the stone in the midst of his banquet, ready to get his eat on. The next morning, about an hour before dawn, a ghostly canoe slipped up to shore about 100 yards from the net. The trapper stepped out, lifted the canoe from the water, and hid in the bushes. Then he proceeded to make some important changes in the arrangement of the net. First, he tied a strong cord to the rim of the hoop. Then he ran the cord down to the ground, under a shallow root, and into a nearby thicket. He pulled on the cord. The net bent down until it covered the rock. When he released the cord, the net rebounded to its former position. After satisfying himself that all was in readiness, he baited his trap with the usual fish and then crept under the thicket. There he waited in perfect stillness through the chill hours of the growing dawn. At last came the sound of mighty wings in the still air above him. The trapper watched as the eagle landed on the sand next to the rock. This time there was no hesitation. The great bird, for all his wisdom, had been lured into accepting the structure as part of the established order. Ain't that an important sentence? See how he set up the trap there, right? He hopped right under the net, clutched a large fish, and perched on the stone to enjoy his meal. At that moment, the eagle sensed the shadow of the movement in the thicket. His muscles tightened for the instantaneous spring into the safety of the air. But before he could move, the large net came down about him with a terrible swish. Oh no! Oh no! What's happening to him? See the net coming down? I think he might be trapped, guys. An intense struggle ensued between the bird and the net. Beating wings, tearing beak, clutching talons. But soon, the mighty eagle was helplessly entangled in the meshes of the unyielding trap. The eagle has been trapped, guys. And that is the story of the eagle story. Did you see what the eagle did wrong? He didn't stay aware of his situations. He refused to accept that something strange or dangerous was going to be happening, coming his way. And in the end, he ended up getting trapped by the trap that was set by somebody who had an ulterior motive, who had a reason and a desire to put him in chains, lock him up. So guys, that's the eagle story. I wanted to read this guy to you guys because I don't want you guys to get into the habit of doing things you're seeing everybody else doing because it's convenient or it looks like fun. You have to stay aware, stay focused, guys, you know? I desire for you guys to have good fortune in your life. I desire that you will come to Christ if that's your soul calling. Me personally, I've chose Christ and I hope you will too. And I always want to remind you guys as we close this out to stay tuned, stay alert, and always remember, you are the movement. Good night, Junior Movementers and Movementers around the world. See you next time.